House of Representatives and be one of the first speakers here on the floor in the aftermath of the election that took place a little over a week ago. And I have a number of things that I hope to discuss this evening. However, I'd like to start this presentation this evening, Mr. Speaker, with a recognition of valor of an Iowan who tomorrow will be receiving the Medal of Honor that will be hung around his neck and presented to him by our Commander-in-Chief, President Obama, at a ceremony at the White House. And I would, Mr. Speaker, arise to honor an American hero, Staff Sergeant Salvatore Giunta. He's of the 173rd Airborne Brigade Combat Team from Hiawatha, Iowa. He'll be presented with the Medal of Honor on November 16th, that's tomorrow at the White House, by the President, as I said, for distinguishing himself by acts of gallantry at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty. On October of 2007, while moving along a wooded area with an 8-man squad in Korangal Valley in Afghanistan, the squad was ambushed on 3 sides by at least a dozen Taliban fighters. Even though Staff Sergeant Giunta received several gunshot wounds, he continued the fight, running straight into the path of gunfire to rescue one wounded soldier and saving his life as he drug him back to safety. Then running again directly into the path of oncoming gunfire to overtake and kill 2 fighters while rescuing his brother-in-arms, Sergeant Josh Brennan. Even though Sergeant Brennan would later die of surgery, the family still had the comfort of knowing that his brothers were with him and had rescued him from being taken captive by the enemy. This is a small segment of that engagement that day in October of 2007. And this, Mr. Speaker, is our privilege to express our great gratitude and to honor Staff Sergeant Salvatore Giunta. And to commemorate this gallantry and this Medal of Honor, which will be the first Medal of Honor that will be awarded to a surviving American service member for either the Iraq or Afghanistan conflicts. Probably the greatest supporter and cheerleader and respecter of our military, our veterans, our combat veterans, and especially our combat wounded, works in this Capitol every day reaching out to them, Albert Caswell. And Albert has written a number of poems that he has presented to the wounded and to the families. He's provided a tremendous amount of comfort for those who have suffered so much for our liberty and for our freedom. And this poem is something that he set up last night and penned, and I, Mr. Speaker, read this into the record out of great respect for his contribution and also great respect for the Medal of Honor winner that tomorrow will receive that medal from the President, Staff Sergeant Salvatore Giunta. And this poem is called At Honor's Height, and it reads this, Mr. Speaker: all at honor's height, all in the darkness of war this fight, all in those most sacred moments that which ignite, when who lives or dies, but lives to see another sunrise, so Sal, so all depended upon you. While against all odds, as you stood so tall, almost like a god, as into the face of death you ran, as did all your brothers in arms, so too, who on this day began, such brilliance, such light, so true this sight, your hue, all at honor's height, as were you. Hua, airborne, with but your badge of courage worn, as all in that moment, as when your faith so chose to crest, all in your actions and deeds, to answer freedom's quest, as your heart so sailed up to new heights. So now, all in your most selfless light, its highest point at honor's height, turning the darkness into the light to win that day, to win that night, all at honor's height. For there can be no greater gift, nor than there, no more blessed thing as this, than but the will to give up one's life, all for your brothers in arms, this most sacred sacrifice. While all in that moment of truth, by bringing your light, which so brings such tears even to the angels' eyes this night. Ah, yes, you, Sal, so stand this day, all at honor's height, all in what you so gave, so brilliant and bright, for what child shall be born, all from your gift in futures worn, who might so save the world, or in harm's way so too climb to such heights? For on this day, you and your brother in arms have so shown us all the way to honor's height. Mr. Speaker, I don't have the words to embellish the actions of Staff Sergeant Salvatore Giunta, nor do I have the words to embellish the poem that's been so brilliantly written by Albert Caswell at honor's height, to commemorate the gallantry, the bravery, the nobility of this Iowan, who tomorrow will be so profoundly honored at the ceremony in the White House and the presentation of the Medal of Honor. I have had the privilege to get to know one of our top Medal of Honor recipients in the nation. In fact, the most decorated living American is Colonel Bud Day, also from Iowa. We happen to have 3 living recipients of the Medal of Honor that I claim as Iowans, and Colonel Day heads up that list as the dean of them. He was the top officer in the Hanoi Hilton in Vietnam during the Vietnam War. He's a World War II Korean and Vietnam veteran. He's also he's been an honorable and noble leader here in America that stepped forward and worn the Medal of Honor with courage and dignity, and he's been a noble American in every day of his civilian life as well as his enlisted life. And he has made the advice for Medal of Honor winners that you have to carry that, you wear that medal every day of your life. That when you receive the medal, everyone looks at you, and wherever you go, they know that you have received the Medal of Honor. And so all of your behavior is observed more closely than it might be if you were perhaps significantly more anonymous. And so you can cast disgrace on America, or you can cast honor on America. And the Medal of Honor recipients have, by and large, and in all cases that I know of, cast honor upon America by their deeds, by their bravery, by their nobility, and by their actions as they proceed through the course of perhaps post-military service and being Americans in the most honorable fashion of seeking to make America a better place to live in. We look forward to the future that Staff Sergeant Salvatore Giunta has, and the message that he will deliver to this country as he proudly wears the Medal of Honor. I ask that this Congress stop and pause and reflect upon the sacrifice that he has made, and I think also that there's circumstances that we have lost Americans who have conducted themselves in as noble a fashion who are unrecognized. And I pray that Staff Sergeant Salvatore Giunta does grow old here in America and leave the legacy of his nobility and bravery wherever he goes as an inspiration to the young, as an inspiration to all of us. He's certainly an inspiration to me, and he should be an inspiration to us here in this Congress. As someone says, I don't really want to have that debate. It's a brutal debate. We've never had such a thing here in this Congress. There are brutal battles in war. Lives are lost. Blood is spilled. Hearts are broken. Destinies are changed. The destiny of America is turned for the better when the destinies of individuals occasionally are sacrificed in that noble cause. And Staff Sergeant Giunta was willing to make that sacrifice. He stepped into the gunfire over and over again. Tomorrow he steps up to receive the Medal of Honor from the Commander-in-Chief, the President of the United States. I salute Staff Sergeant Salvatore Giunta, and I ask that especially the young people in America look up to him as an example. There are many others. Tomorrow we honor Staff Sergeant Giunta.